Now these are a few transactions that we have, 30 transactions. And I have the transaction amounts against each transaction number. Now, what I have to find out is the transaction number at which, please note it down, the transaction number at which the total transaction amount exceeds 10,000 for the first time. The transaction number at which the total transaction amount exceeds 10,000 for the first time. Now, what is the total transaction amount? It's the cumulative sum of amounts. So you can create a column here beside C and then write total transaction amount as the header. So this one total will be 1175. This will be 1175 plus 842. This will be 1175 plus 842 plus 1204 and so on and so forth. So cumulative sum, right? So create first this column with the cumulative sums and then find out when do you exceed 10,000 for the first time. So that's the, let me now do this, right? Okay, so what you did to get the cumulative sum is probably this, right? And then, correct? This is what you did, right? And then you dragged it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, more or less, most of you, I guess. Most of you have done this. And which is the right thing to do? Which is the right thing to do? But I'll just show you one other way of doing the same thing. Sometimes these things help. Now,
can you repeat this?
I can write, okay, the formula.
Yes, sir.
You wrote this, right? To get the cumulative sum? Yeah?
No, I didn't get it.
No, you haven't. What did you do? You wrote something else. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all right. If you're getting the sum, cumulative sum, it's all right. This is I think the best way of. I'm not sure if you have written you have a better way of doing this, but this is the most widely used way of doing cumulative sum, or finding out cumulative sum, and it's absolutely fine. It's just that I wanted to show you another way of doing the same thing. So look at this and see if you understand what I'm doing here. Sum C$3 colon C3. Okay, C$3 colon C3, right? And then you simply drag and drop. You get the cumulative sum, right? Now let's understand why does this work. Well, it works because, what am I saying here? I'm saying first one is sum C3 to C3, which is nothing but what is in C3. But as you drag, what happens is the first C3 remains C3, but the second one becomes C4, right? The second one is now C4. So what have you done? Sum C3 to C4, which is cumulative sum, right? And this you can drag all the way till the end. So that is also another way of doing cumulative sum. But I'm not saying that you have to do this, because the previous one is definitely a better way of doing this. So you need not do what I'm showing you, but sometimes it's useful. I do not have a situation right now which I can show or demonstrate that. But remember this. Keep this idea somewhere parked in your mind somewhere. Okay.
So can you show the previous one? Which method did they use? The to find out the total sum.
This is what I'm writing right now.
Okay. I used if logical if statement to find out the sum.
No, don't do that. For cumulative, don't use logical. That's for cumulative sum, don't use if and logical and all that. Don't use functions when you don't need one.
Okay.
If you don't need a function, don't use one. That's not a very efficient way of doing it. You'll still get the result, of course, but that's not efficient. Okay.
When I'm using this formula, I'm getting on the first value, I'm getting double of 1175.
Which one? Which function are you using?
Sum C $3 is to C3. Cost
That is not possible. How do you get that? That's not possible. If you have written what I've written, it cannot be. Okay. You didn't use colon, right? You probably used a comma. Check if you have used a comma.
Okay, I've used a comma.
That's why. It's a colon, the range. Okay. Okay, so now let's see this. 10,000 is what I have to figure out, right? When does it exceed 10,000 for the first time? Now I'm using match, right? 10,000 is what I'm looking for. Where am I looking for? In the transaction amount, of course. Correct? Total transaction amount, of course. And what is the match type? It cannot be exact, right? Cannot be exact. It cannot be 0. Okay? It cannot be 0. So it has to be 1. Ascending order, right? Ascending order. So what does it return? It returns the largest number less than equal to 10,000. Rather, the position of the largest number less than equal to 10,000. Now listen to this carefully. If you're new to this, listen to this very carefully. If this match function returns the position of the largest number less than equal to 10,000, then you are absolutely sure that the next one would have the number which is greater than 10,000. Right? So the next row is where it exceeds 10,000 for the first time. So this is how you use these functions in Excel to solve these kind of problems. Okay, so now it says 10. Well, the transaction numbers are also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you don't have to, you can stop right here. However, if this was something like T1 and T2 and so on and so forth, you would have done what? You would have to use the index function. Yes. Easy, right? Very simple. Good, then. Shall we go to the next one?
This one here for the smallest number greater than 10,000.
Sorry, didn't get it.
Why can't we use -1, like smallest number greater than 10,000? Like if you want to get 10,177.
Because, yeah, I got it. Because this is sorted in ascending order, not descending order. You cannot do it if it's not descending order. Now, the reason I keep telling you that be very careful about these using match type 1 and -1. It's possible to have an amount here which is negative. It's possible. And it's also possible that that negative number ends up screwing your ascending order. And if that happens, then you cannot use match type 1. If you have negative numbers in this column, which will screw up your ascending order, then you cannot use match type 1. and therefore be absolutely sure about the sorting, ascending order, descending order, right? Here I know these are all positive numbers and cumulative sum. It has to be ascending order. So I'm not really bothered about that. But be careful about data, right? When you're using Excel, be very careful about data. When you're handling data, you have